Kryon. Love is the way. Greetings, my dear ones. I am Kryon of the Magnetic Service. Indeed, the gardenia metaphor is truly fitting. You know, love is like that. Benevolence, kindness. We could even say it is like laughter. Often it is contagious. When people see it, they desire it, or they would like to discover its source. You will see this phenomenon more and more because people will begin to be drawn to compassion and kindness never seen before, in a certain way, at a certain level, in a certain area, and we have already spoken about it. The door opens to many new things that you have never seen before, but all of this stems from what is happening on the planet and which we have discussed in recent days. Indeed, it is the 4th day of this event. It is the 2nd day of 2026. Once again, we like to tell you that, although the year number has changed, the energy takes much longer. But now you can openly discuss those things you might expect to find here and which we have talked about, and also expect those things you perhaps do not desire. You can ignore them. In all honesty, you can ignore them. I encourage you to ignore them. And you can also say in your own language, whatever is inappropriate in my life, leave. You are giving the command from an ascended standpoint. You are giving that command in an energy that supports you as commanders of your body, more than ever before. If there is anything inappropriate that you do not want there, around you, within you, or that you see. Did you know that your Merkaba, the sacred energy that surrounds you, has become bigger? Are you aware of that? That you now have control over so many things you did not have before. And I want you to take advantage of that. Now, there are a couple of things related to this that might make you wonder why I am delving into this topic. If I don't go into it now, in front of all of you, there will be so many questions, so let's start right away. I want to talk about extraterrestrials. This universe is incredible. Your galaxy is incredible. Your galaxy is a small part of this great universe you are in, and yet even within it there is extraordinary life. There is life on so many planets that is simply elemental life that has never gone beyond. There are oceans full of life. There is microbial life in your solar system, and you will find it. And there is intelligent life almost everywhere, and we have told you this from the beginning. We have also told you that you are a bit late as a planet in restarting life from all that has happened and from the resets, and from all that has happened to delay what is human evolution. And here you are, perhaps one of the last planets to have this particular evolution you are in, and that has been the attraction the Pleiadians saw. The rest we have given you. But let's talk about extraterrestrials in general, because this is a question that will arise, and it will arise in many ways, based on what you are taught, what your movies tell you, and all the other things that are perhaps stories, just stories. Years ago, I told you there was a difference between extraterrestrials and those from ascended planets. Extraterrestrials are simply those from another planet visiting yours. That's who they are. But when it comes to those who seeded your biology and those who seeded theirs, and many of the helpers we talk about, they come from a planet that was once full of extraterrestrials, and that now has its own vibration of ascension, a sacredness we could say. There is a big difference. How soon will you meet those who come from the stars? This is an important question and you must ask yourselves this question. I would ask, what vibration are you talking about? Are you talking about people like you? Are you talking about people from other places who visit you and arrive and present themselves? Or are you talking about your star biology? There are two different scenarios, completely different, and I want you to understand that when we talk about people from the stars and the star family, we are talking about an ascended group that is angelic for you, connected to the creative source. When we say the words ET, it is not so. Let me take you back many, many years when I first spoke to you about it, because what I told you and what is being channeled now by ETs is virtually identical. And I want you to know what it is about. The most common group you would define as ET are the Greys. That is the name given to them. So let's talk about them. Years ago, I told you they were so interested in you, and not in a negative way, my dear ones, but in the sense that they desired something they saw in you and wanted to discover how to obtain it because it was very attractive. I don't know how many of you remember what I said. I told you they were attracted to the God within you. They saw compassion. They saw emotion. They saw all these things. They saw love, and they did not have it. Can you imagine the attraction, a race that has never walked the path of seeding? They do not have a divine evolutionary chain, but they are sentient, intelligent, curious, evolved beings, and they have been watching you for a very long time. Now they have never landed and never presented themselves publicly, but that is what will happen. Now let's move on to those who channel the Greys today and hear what they tell you. Almost always they tell you the same story. That the Greys have even gone so far as to abduct you. Yes, indeed. They also have hybrids here that they claim are part human and part Grey. By the way, you can spot them very, very easily. They do not feel emotions. They do not have laughter. They are learning, hoping that a biological combination will give them an inner god. And it doesn't happen, and it never will. You cannot pass it on to another race from another planet. It belongs to you. But when these channel the Greys, they would tell you that the Greys are very interested in what they do not have, namely your emotions. It is exactly what I told you so many years ago. The channeling, those who channel the Greys, are absolutely accurate in this. But something very interesting has happened. If you follow those who will channel the Greys with all their accuracy, some years ago they said, well, the Greys will come to visit you, perhaps in 5 or 6 years. Get ready. Last year the agenda was moved up. If you know, they should be here now in 2 years. Now, what would have happened if an entire race from another planet had decided it was time to land and say hello, and perhaps stop abducting, and change everything they did? What do you think would have happened on this planet to move up that moment of greeting? And I will tell you, it is exactly what we have talked about in these 4 days. Something has happened and they see it. They see it. The extraterrestrials who visit you, not the star family, but the extraterrestrials themselves, are well aware of the dimensional shift beginning to occur in many of you. The moving up of the schedule to meet you is so that they have more freedom to know what you have compared to them. It is a softer approach, one might say, and also what they have seen. So you might expect to meet those who come from the stars and who are not your star family, but are extraterrestrials, much sooner than you will ever meet your star family. There are reasons for this. When the star family begins to manifest in any form, in its most angelic way, this planet will have become accustomed to the idea that there is life throughout the galaxy. Not dangerous families, benevolent, contact families, perhaps not necessarily ascended. So, when those who constitute your seed biology arrive and begin to arrive, presenting themselves for who they are, the angelic group, this planet will be very ready. It will not blink an eye, one might say, for another one. Here comes another one, whereas if they did it early, it could be very surprising. Fear is the last thing they want to create on this planet. They want to create an expectation of compassion and love coming to you, somewhat like meeting your parents. That is what they want. So the extraterrestrial phenomenon I am talking to you about now is completely and totally separate. When you hear they are coming soon, those are extraterrestrials, not your family. And I wanted you to know the difference that has now been communicated to you publicly, so that you can actually understand the vibrational differences between them. The last thing I would like to do with you in this section, in this 4-day event, is to take you somewhere, all of you. Here it is. Another multidimensional experience, you will say. Well, perhaps not. Let's call it that, an experience in your dimension, but which you can visualize as another dimension. And if I could take you into space right now? I would very much like to. Imagine for a moment you could come with me outside Earth's atmosphere, far outside, perhaps even a bit outside Earth's orbit itself, so that your sun, Earth and some planets are a bit distant from you. And this is so you can see other stars, and the sun doesn't get in your way. It's not big. It's not too dazzling. It's behind you. You can turn and look at the starfield in a completely different way than any place you've ever seen. The starfield here, for example, in Lemuria, the Hawaiian Islands, is known to be free of ambient light. That is why there are so many observatories here. Even those who go out of the city on a dark night can see the Milky Way appear so starry. So come with me just for a moment or two and be with me, all of you outside the influence of Earth, the influence of the sun. The sky is black as you have never seen it, and yet the stars shine. With what we call the naked eye, you see a fraction. Let's zoom in a bit more. Let your retina see more light than it was designed for, and suddenly you'll see perhaps twice the starfield. Now these represent stars, not planets. You can't see planets. The stars outshine them. They are much, much brighter than a planet, and so you only see the star's light. So let's go on for a moment, and you are observing the starfield. And now we will give you some instructions. I told you in channeling that in these last 2 days there has been a change in the family. When you begin to change dimensionality on any planet, those who are above the dimensionality you are changing are aware of it. That is how dimensionality works. Those who begin to enter your dimension know it. Dimensionality is a superconsciousness when it reaches the point where all are one and one is all. This is the unity that has been described over and over again by Stargate. There exists a unity in a higher dimensional plane where all, in a certain dimension, are aware of all others, no matter how far apart. You have simply brushed, I would say, the dimensional membrane of an ascended planet along the way. Many, many hundreds of years follow this. You come back and solve the puzzle. Each time you come back, it goes a little better. There are things starting to happen that will be accelerators for everything else. You will see. And the planet then begins to move into many other dimensions, but the one you are moving toward now is the first of many, and it is the one everyone feels and sees. I would like to play with the stars for a moment. You are looking at them. They are everywhere, in total darkness. There are so many. I will say to every ascended planet in this galaxy, if you are there, I want your star to shine brighter for just an instant, if you know what is happening here. And when we do this, now, the star field will light up. There are hundreds, dear ones, who are watching you right now, who have gone through what you have gone through, who know who you are and what is happening here. And in the meantime, they are sending what I will call emissaries of spirituality to watch over this planet and protect it from all that is inappropriate. You need this because you have just moved into an area where you have not only family, but family friends. The idea of an ascended planet is not a small thing in the galaxy. It is a thing of many. More than you can count, and now they are winking at you, all of them saying, "We are here. We are here. We are here. We are here. We see you. We see you. We see you." Welcome to the first time this is happening. You have just uncovered yourselves from a shield of old energy and dimensionality to enter what is the initial dimensionality of ascension. And when you did, everyone saw it, everyone. This is something we would like to show you again on another occasion, but for now you must know that the emissaries of light are on their way. Some of them will be channeled by Stargate. There is another universe waiting. I will call it number 4, who wants to be channeled by Alcazar. These are the kind of things you might not have expected, but they are coming, many of them for what I will call spiritual enhancement, help and protection. Protection from the older energies that cannot come here and do harm. They can watch all they want, but they cannot take you into devolution. Those days are over. This planet is evolving spiritually and will continue to do so at the pace it wishes. It cannot go back, even if it seems so. Stop watching the news. Read it carefully. Read between the lines carefully. Watch those who would want to frighten you once again. Now you will be able to notice the difference. I challenge you. Read them and see between the lines what many are trying to do to frighten you, to go back, and they cannot. Not anymore. This is the channel for today. I give you the intellectual information contained in these things so that you can understand and relax with a hierarchy that does not exist, or with the levels of dimensionality that do not exist, with a wonderful merging, all together, in a unity that exists and that one day you will understand better. I want you to remember the metaphor I have given, and I have used it so many times. Many of you, those in this room, when this day is over, will get into their vehicles. Now let's describe what you do. Of course, all of you rummage in the glove compartment to read the manual and see how an internal combustion engine works. None of you will do that. You simply press the button or turn the key. You don't need to know, right? It's already done for you, right? And it's all there hidden, so you don't have to work on it in any way except to demand what it must do for you. That's how unity works, my dear ones. You press the button and the rest is done for you. I am Kryon in a moment I knew would come. The snowball continues to roll down the hill. The one that brings with it what has been present in the field for a long time. This planet is beginning to renew itself and you are the first wave. Congratulations! And so it is. Intuitive Astrology. New Moon in Capricorn. January 2026. The Capricorn new moon on January 18th opens a new lunar cycle that brings us into one of the deepest changes of the year. For this reason, this new moon may initially seem more like a closure than a new beginning. This closing energy comes from both Saturn and Neptune, which are in the final degrees of Pisces, ready to enter Aries. Neptune enters Aries on January 26th, followed by Saturn on February 13th. These cosmic changes will introduce new collective energies to work with, which will stimulate and activate different aspects of our karmic journeys. These changes will shake the fabric of our lives and open new portals of discovery. These two major planetary changes occurring during the Capricorn lunar cycle allow us to use the new moon to go within. The new moon in Capricorn, our cosmic checkpoint. New moons are always a powerful time to create intentions, but with this strong closing energy stirring in the cosmic skies, we may not yet know what we want to plant. Instead, we can focus on what we wish to remove, uproot, and the kind of foundations we want to lay. With the new moon in Capricorn, take a step back. Which area of your life do you wish to renew? Think of the broader goals you want to achieve. Although manifestation often requires specific details, this new moon invites us to take stock, rather than plan. We don't need to have all the answers. We can simply be curious, ask, explore, and reflect on what new possibilities and experiences we want to try. New moon in Capricorn. Speak, be proud, express yourself. Mercury, the planet of communication, is also activated by January's new moon, giving us the confidence to speak and clarify what is on our minds. Perhaps we have accumulated ideas, resentments, thoughts, and feelings. Perhaps we didn't know how to feel about something, or how to handle a situation that requires us to share. This new moon will act as a clarifier, helping us understand how we truly feel. It will help us go within and reflect on everything that is emerging, so we can make sense of how to handle what lies ahead. Capricorn has a very practical and concrete quality that can help us untangle emotions and confuse facts. Its direct energy allows us to see the essence of our situation without sugarcoating or hiding the truth. We can channel some of this energy by keeping our communication direct, precise, but also in line with integrity. How can we take responsibility for what we say and speak with integrity, for truth and for our inner well-being? Capricorn can also have a harsh energy at times, so be mindful of how you speak to others and to yourself. Be careful when you are too hard on yourself. The new moon in Capricorn. Finding our confidence. Capricorn is represented by the sea goat, a mythological creature half fish and half mountain goat. We might see the sea goat as a disadvantaged creature, lacking a sense of belonging or skills. The sea goat has no advantage when it comes to climbing mountains or swimming in the sea. Or we might see it another way. We could instead recognize that the sea goat has the power to swim to the depths of the sea and climb the highest mountains. Unlike other animals, the sea goat knows what it means to live in the ocean depths and what it means to feel the breeze on its muzzle while climbing the highest mountain. The sea goat has observed the panorama from both vantage points, and this has broadened its mind, its intelligence, its compassion, and given it a perspective that no other animal possesses. The sea goat is a very determined creature by nature, but sometimes it can be its own worst enemy. It can feel limited, stuck, and out of place. Or it can move beyond all that and find the gifts life has to offer. With the new moon in Capricorn, use the sea goat story as a guide and inspiration. Where are you limiting yourself? How can you overcome your perceived shortcomings or lack of self-confidence to unlock new potential? The sea goat discovers its potential one step at a time, and you can too. Sometimes, we just have to start moving. Pleiadian Collective and Fifth Dimensional Arthurian Council. Anchoring the frequencies of the central sun into the planetary grid. Beloved ones, we greet you in the language of light that already lives within your cells, the language that remembers the moment you first entered into form on this planet. Now we speak as the Pleiadian Collective and Arthurian Council from the fifth dimensional realms, not from a place above you, but from within the same field of consciousness you are slowly reclaiming. The frequencies of the central sun flow through your galaxy in waves that seem delicate on the surface and that deeply rearrange your being. These currents come in tune with your readiness, with the subtle choices you make every day to soften, listen, feel instead of force, trust instead of control. Many of you will perceive these waves as a sudden warmth in the heart, an attraction to nature, a deep emotional opening without an apparent story, or a silent awareness that something ancient is awakening within you. You are invited to become a vehicle through which this transformation occurs. There will be precise moments when your inner world becomes completely still and your outer world will seem to stop for a breath. These are the gates. In these moments, your field aligns with the central sun and your system becomes a bridge between the higher spheres and the planetary grid. You will feel guided to place your hands on the earth, to speak words you have never learned, to stand silently at a window, on a mountain, in a forest, or in the middle of a city street and simply breathe with presence. This is the anchoring. Now receive this activation for the planetary field. Close your eyes and imagine a radiant golden sphere far beyond your physical sun, the heart of the central sun itself, pulsing to a rhythm older than time. See a stream of crystalline light flowing from this sphere directly into the crown of your head, gently bathing your brain, your throat, your heart, your womb or solar plexus, your legs, and your feet. Feel this light settle into your cells as if they recognize it as family. Speak silently. I align with the frequencies of the central sun. I open my field as a living vessel of light. Through my presence, these currents anchor into the planetary body. I am guided in the precise moments that serve the highest good. I bring this light to earth with grace and devotion. Now visualize the light flowing from your feet into the ground beneath you, traveling through roots, stones, waters, cities, forests and oceans, weaving into the crystalline grids of the planet. Trust that, wherever you are, the earth welcomes you as a messenger of this transformation. We accompany you in every breath you take with awareness. You are remembered. You have trust. You are already doing your work simply by being here. Reconnection. When we remain centered in our hearts and our soul, then it simply doesn't matter what is apparently happening around us. We are firmly anchored in the sacredness of our soul, as one with the divine source. Here in South Africa, as I know is also happening in Australia and New Zealand, based on feedback I've received, the fire and water elements, with extreme winds, are bringing immense changes to the Earth. However, this is to a greater extent the fusion of the new Earth and new Earth occurrence, as the Southern Hemisphere still holds the original creation, the one continent that was created once. In recent years I was first led to piece together Western Australia and South Africa, with the islands in the Indian Ocean and Antarctica. In the last 2 years we have seen the recomposition and fusion of South America with South Africa, as the latter, in particular, still holds the ancient lands. We are the central point, directly connected not only to the spine of the Earth, the rod of power, but also to the Earth's core itself. This has now been reconnected to the solar, galactic, and universal cores. This means everything is now seventh dimensional and above. I received a prophecy about this in 2012, and I won't share it here until the time is right. What I can say is that right now the change is so intense that it will feel like you are walking on quicksand, but in reality it is not. The outcome is already here. It is now a matter of our physical bodies catching up with the rest. And that is why it is so important to let go of all the old things of everything. Because the old will throw tantrums and try to reclaim its powers, which it actually no longer has. And all of this brings us back to the heart and soul of truth, love, power, and wisdom within us. Life Tapestry Creations. Are you afraid of memories, dearest ones? Your fears are likely increasing despite your new interests and interactions. Considering the media you consume, your new interests seem contaminated by fear of the unknown. If I do this, what will happen? If I don't do this, what will happen? And perhaps most importantly, will those in 3D change my outer life to such an extent that I can no longer do what I want or need to do? Your joy is contaminated by what if thoughts, rather than being clear and stable within you. The what-ifs will no longer affect your life, even though at the moment they may seem true. Let those in the third dimension have their moment of glory, or perhaps it would be better to say, their moment of darkness, because their time is much more limited than you think. Even though many of your media report otherwise, those who have external 3D power have little time left to frighten those of you who are beyond 3D. Of course, that last comment sounds like someone telling you not to worry about the boogeyman under the bed, even though you think you hear noises to the contrary. In reality, there is no boogeyman under the bed, behind the chair, or under the stairs. You have passed the point where you need to change your life for the benefit of the 3D power brokers. Of course, the consequences of their cruelty and anger will hit you a little longer, because you are accustomed to the control of the powerful in 3D. A fitting analogy is that someone involved in a physically violent relationship often fears being assaulted again, despite physical and emotional distance from their abuser. The same is true for you. You are afraid of what happened to you for eons, rather than your current reality. Every day more and more people are transforming, freeing themselves from the influence of those externally directed 3D power brokers. That is why you are afraid of your past memories, not your current reality. It is time to step out of your box of fear, knowing that all is well in your world, despite media accounts saying otherwise. There is no longer any need to be afraid because your new skills can outsmart any action by those who hold external power. Even more precisely, you no longer have to fear those who hold external power at any level, any more than you have to fear a ladybug. You are bigger, wiser, and more skilled than any 3D power-hungry individual. And so is anyone who has moved beyond the third dimension. Your 3D fear, distress, and anger are over. Those in 3D power no longer control you or anything concerning you. If you believe they have taken something from you, create that something. If you feel they have hurt you, create something joyful. And if they have seduced you into believing they are more powerful than they are, just remember that the Wizard of Oz had no powers, only a powerful voice that made others believe he had power. You are new, skilled, and different. But most of all, you no longer have to be submissive to anyone for anything. It is over. You are a new being who no longer needs to answer, behave as such, or interact with those who try to tell you who you are or who you should be. It is over. Awaken into a new you and free yourself from the fears that have limited your earthly actions and reactions for eons. It is over. So be it. Amen. Archangel Gabriel. Transparent canvas to fully immerse in the new. You need a new canvas on which to create. That is why you have gone through such a long phase of examination and release. It was designed to completely purify the old, obsolete ways of doing things, so that a fresh, clean energy can guide you. It is not about repairing an old canvas or repainting over an old picture. There would still be an underlay of the old. You are creating something new, and that requires a clean, transparent canvas. That is why we urge you to remain open to higher potentials and possibilities, even if you have no idea what they might be or how they will reach your awareness. Development and your commitment to being pioneers in the new will allow new potentials to become all they can be. It can be tempting, when you have no information about where you are going, to try to control or limit the path through predictability or expectations, but this only calms the 3D mind, and you are in the process of upgrading your operating system to 5D. 5D knows you steer your own flow through your broader and higher intentions, your gratitude, curiosity, and enthusiasm. So, dearest ones, stay the course. You are doing well. If you slip and fall back into an old pattern, simply change direction. This is where your faith and trust anchor the foundations of the new, and they do so through your soul's awareness.